guys, it's Dark Kira. Welcome to the channel, and I hope you guys are ready for some more PS4 Overwatch content. Just a heads up, this video is part of an ongoing series, and the link to my last video will be up in the corner there, so if you haven't already checked it out, be sure to do that and then head back over here. In the last video, we took a look into the perspective of PS4 players and what it was like and is like today. We mainly discussed the toxic side of the PS4 community, but we also touched on the team scene for PS4 and how it was a safe haven for players looking to get some serious games under their belt. So today, we're going to take a deeper dive into that history by talking to some of the better known teams and players from the PS4 scenes. Some of these players are inactive or have teams that have disbanded, but they were a big presence in the scene over the last several years, and their information on their experiences should help paint a better picture of what it's like currently to be a part of the PS4 Overwatch community. Before we get started, please, if you enjoy this content, make sure to hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications, leave a like, and if you get a chance, feel free to check out my content on Twitch. Everything's under DarkHero9653. When it comes to the PS4 scene, many of us in the early days got in by word of mouth. We'd hear whispers of tournaments and teams through the comp voice chat, or we'd be lucky enough to stumble upon the Twitters of some of the larger leagues. But once you were in, you found yourself part of something much larger than you ever expected. Hundreds of teams, organizations, coaching, cash prizes, and of course, something more real than you've ever experienced in comp. Many of these leagues had hundreds, even thousands of free agents just looking for the chance to get picked up. Low-level players would watch in awe of what was capable at the highest level of play. Teams like Fisher, Suave Mente, Indy were staples for years, and in order to get there, you just needed to work your way up the ladder. But how did you start? Put your name in a looking for team section, wait for a DM? Do you message captains yourself? Or maybe do you want to start a team? But how do you do that? What does it take? What's an org? These questions always seem so foreboding to new players. Not to mention, once you did trial, what if they didn't like you? What if you didn't like them? Because it's something many people didn't realize, your personalities clashing in-game could ruin a team that's mechanically sound. Finding a team was a lot of pressure. Unless you start a team with your family and best friends. To get a better perspective, we're going to talk to members of a team that started out just like that. Their team is named GSG, which is an acronym for Goober Squad Gaming. These guys started out as an Overwatch team around the time I personally started in the team scene. Starting in late 2018 with the Diamond tier of Amateur Gaming's Overwatch tournament coming in second place, and going on to win first place of Tier 3 for Firewall Season 1 in 2020. While they no longer compete in Overwatch tournaments, they still play multiple games together daily. You can even catch them live streaming on Twitch through the Barry Brights channel. The members of GSG are well known and respected within the community, even today. So let's take a few moments now to hear some insight on what it was like for them.
In-game name, Tupac. I played main tank for GSG.
I'm Barry Bright, and I played off support for GSG.
Cold It Life 18, played main tank, and I was the team captain and the team manager.
I commonly go by Keegan. I was the coach for Team GSG through CGL and through AGL.
So when did you guys start playing Overwatch? Did you start together?
I started playing Overwatch probably season 4, I think, or season 2.
I started with the rest of the team. I think we started like 3 years ago, something like that.
I think Keegan had already played it before, and I think the rest of the guys followed suit shortly after.
How did you guys find out about the team scene? What made you start a team?
I was actually kind of the leader in terms of kind of the whole team scene type of thing. We were kind of playing all in about 2016, 2017, and we all were playing just kind of competitively, just on ladder on console. And about this time, I had kind of started watching Contenders and some other things like that on PC. So I wanted to do some research into that and figure out if there was anything like that on console. So I went to my trusty Google and just typed in, competitive console Overwatch, and AGL popped up, the AGL website. And from there, I didn't even know what Discord was at the time. This was like early 2016 or 2017. I had no idea what Discord was. So I just hopped in the AGL Discord and just found this giant community of tons of super enthusiastic people and tons of leagues and stuff like that. and I started individually playing for teams and climbing ladder, and then they kind of followed suit. Everyone kind of saw what I was doing and saw the games that I was playing in on Twitch and things like that. At the time, AGL was kind of big. It was getting 100 views or 200 views like in some of these bigger games, and so they wanted to be a part of that. And so we all decided to make a team. I was too high at the time, so I decided I was going to coach, and just made a big group of friends and family and made a team.
Did you prefer scrimming to playing in comp, and why?
Scrimming was really fun because at the time, goats was meta, and they were goats v goats scrims a lot of the time. And if you if you six that comp number one, queue times take forever. I don't know. Scrimming, I would say was more fun.
I did prefer scrimming over comp because comp, you lose something if you lose. And whenever you scrim, you gain stuff. You gain knowledge on like things to do, gain experience doing scrims. And in comp, it's like there's a lot of toxicity, and then people get mad because they lose SR and stuff. But in scrims, you don't do that if you lose. You just move on and learn from your defeat.
What was your favorite team to play against?
So throughout all of AGL and CGL, we always had one big rival, and it was Team Pandemonium. And I had known Kira for a really long time prior to her starting Team Pandemonium, but so they kind of naturally became our rivals because I knew Kira so well, and Kira kind of actually became part of the Goober Squad, kind of one of the homies. And so everyone always, when we would play Kira, everyone would always turn it up to 11 and try their hardest because, hey, the rivalry. So.
Did you ever find that clashing personalities caused problems within your team?
Maybe not really. We're all pretty toxic. We're all, the whole lot of us are pretty toxic. So, not really. Didn't really matter.
Not for us. Yeah, we do clash sometimes, but that's just because we've been basically brothers for years. So, you're gonna argue, you're gonna have little spats here and there, but we could probably all yell at each other today, and then 2 hours later we'll be fucking playing games again because that's just what we do.
Yeah, and I think this is kind of one big area where teams struggle, right? Especially on console. Teams have to decide, and especially individual players, right? You have to decide whether or not you're here to win games or not. And that's like a really big question, right? Because like if you're playing in the team scene for fun, that's great. You have to establish that with your teammates though. If you're playing in the team scene because you want to win, okay, that's another thing because then you have to talk about accountability, right? You have to hold people accountable, and sometimes that can make tensions fly. If people want to win and their competitive drive is really high, like my team was, like Team GSG was, then you're going to hold people accountable, and sometimes you can maybe come off as a little rude. And so we would sometimes see people who would hold each other accountable, and people who maybe could sometimes come off rude, but it was all for the better of the team, and so sometimes that would cause some issues.
What's the biggest highlight for you guys playing in tournaments?
The biggest highlight we lost a lot of tournaments. We choked a lot of tournaments. The biggest highlight a lot of the times was regular season. I feel like every regular season we beat almost every team we played. And then we would make playoffs and fall short somewhere in there. But I don't know.
Do you guys look back on your time in GSG as an Overwatch team, positively or negatively?
Definitely positive. I like the team scene. I wish I could get back into it, honestly, with PC. That would be awesome. But I don't think I'm good enough right now. I feel like I got a lot of work to do. So.
It's super positive. I had so much fun doing this, even though maybe we didn't win as much as we would like to. I mean, we did win a lot, but it's just it was just such a fun thing to do. We're all super competitive and just want to win at whatever. So getting all of us together and actually playing for something was super fun for us.
I think a little bit of positive and negative. I know that's kind of an indirect answer, but again, you're talking about playing super competitively. Everybody wants to win. We are all family and friends and stuff like that, but everybody did want to win, right? And so sometimes that would cause problems, and sometimes it would be great, right? So I had a lot of great experiences with GSG, a lot of great experiences with the guys, and some not so great experiences. Just like everything in life. So
Positively. For sure. For sure.
While GSG knew each other quite well beforehand, not all teams were built that way. Many were made from scratch, like the second team I'll be talking to today. Their name? Brigaway. Brigaway was also a Diamond Division team like GSG. They started in early 2019, making it to the playoffs in CGL. They took a break for a bit, but when they came back with a vengeance. They decimated the competition in Overguard and became well known for their strength in goats. And unfortunately, due to a few troublemakers within the team, they also gained a reputation for being a bit on the toxic side. The team disbanded in late 2019. However, many of the players are still part of the community today and are now playing for new teams. So, let's get into their perspective on what it was like and is like for the team scene in PS4 Overwatch.
Hey, I'm Manzi. Back then I was known as Chef Manzi. My gamer tag is mansboy05, and I played main support and flex support for Brigaway, and I still play main support.
So my name is Agar, and I played off tank, and I still do play off tank.
I'm Kingscar. I was the head coach of Brigaway after CGL.
My name is Phoenix, and I used to play main tank for Brigaway.
So, how did Brigaway get started?
So basically, it was like around like season 10 or 11. I was on my first ever team. I just thought like the roster and like the captains weren't like building the correct roster, and I thought I could build a pretty good roster myself. So I left, and then I decided to pick up a few of my friends and a few like people I knew, trialed out some other people, and then we played in CGL around like season 12, like 13.
How did you join the team?
Back then, I just joined CGL's Discord, and I was looking for a team to join. I just reached 3K peak on my flex support role, so I decided to like put myself out for LFT, and a team reached out to me called Galaxy. Now, I wasn't really happy with the management because of how they were running things, and Agar actually messaged me saying, "Hey, I have a team being made. Are you interested?" And I was like a bit hesitant at first, and I was like, "Hey, I'll try it out. Like this roster that I'm with right now, I'm not really having fun with." So I went over, we had a really good scrims and all that. So that's how I joined Brigaway, was through a different team.
I first started looking for teams in the OTC Discord server, and then it brought me over to CGL. And later, I found one of Agar's looking for players, so I tried out there.
Did you guys find the negative publicity to help or hurt your team?
I think it hurt us in some ways. Like we couldn't, like a lot of community servers, a lot of our members were banned in and stuff. A lot of teams like didn't really like us, I guess, and refused to scrim us because we were toxic or whatever. At the end of the day, it didn't really hurt us in any other way. It didn't help us at all, but it didn't really hurt us in any other way. It was all like more like in good fun, I guess.
It was mostly problems for me because I would have to go to almost every public server as owner or community server's owner and ask them to ban the players because some of them would cause some problems, and I would constantly get messages about it. So just to avoid that, I had to talk to a lot of people and get them banned or whatever had to be done.
Did you prefer scrimming to playing comp, and why?
I personally preferred scrimming because at least in scrims, you're more serious, you're more focused. But compared to comp, even if I was six stacking with the team, everyone was kind of trolling at some point, but it's okay.
Well, I definitely preferred scrimming because it got me closer to everybody that all my friends now. Like about 80% of the players that played on Brigaway, I still play with today. Not on teams, of course, but I still play with them in parties. I talk to them all the time. They're all buddies to me. In comp, whenever we play comp, it was always just a stress fest because we always had to check our SRs afterwards to check if we were over cap because we really did not want to play tier 4 because we weren't ready for it yet. So that was the main thing why I liked scrimming more.
What was your favorite team to play against?
We didn't really have any rivals per se, but like some of our favorite teams to play against were like Gravity, Culture, Nobody. Like all the other top tier 3 teams were always fun to play against because we'd always go like neck to neck and close with them, and we'd learn a lot from like the scrims and stuff. So it was always fun to play against those teams.
Culture was the best team in tier 3, and the fact that they had that taken away from them was kind of it was really sad, honestly, because it kind of took away some of the accomplishments that we had, even if it was scrims against them. Like we performed well every time against them. I think we always had a strong performance, but they were always so good, and I was always so happy playing against them.
Did you ever find clashing personality cause problems within your team?
It was never really an issue that they had. It was more like the only problems that ever occurred were against players from other teams. That was really the only problems at least I can remember ever happening.
Yeah, it caused some problems. It caused some arguments in the team, but we kind of just fixed it overall. Like, I wouldn't say we fixed it, more like we kind of just moved on.
Definitely after our first main tank left, our second main tank had he was a bit it was a bit more of trying to keep him up on his feet rather, and it was just a bit of a clash with also our coach at the time, who I think he thinks that we strayed from the path, but in all honesty, I just think that we had a really bad meta for what we were at that time, which was a goats one trick team and a triple DPS team, and we just really could not adapt that well to the new meta that was trying to show up. So yeah, there was some clashing personalities, but that was backed up by a whole ton of issues.
What's the biggest highlight for you playing in tournaments?
My favorite highlight was from Overguard and us just like stomping everyone during the regular season before Goats went away.
I played Ana, and I was basically shutting down their Sombra. The whole team played that perfectly. We were all clicking. The whole team came together on that. We all knew what we were doing. It was just Breakaway. It was just so bang bang. We always knew what we were gonna do. We always knew what the other ones were gonna do. Our trust was like so tight knit that it just came together like that, and we won that match easily, 3-0.
Why did you guys disband?
It was around the time when Brigaway was known as the toxic team, or like the very cocky, very energetic type of team. Because everyone was set to like such a high standard because it was during Goats, we all thought that we were like the best players in that tier. The moment Goats was starting to get out of the picture and slowly transitioning into Cog and Orisa meta, we couldn't really focus down that much. We couldn't really do the same things that we used to do. And we just broke down because I was accused of throwing a scrim when I wasn't really comfortable with playing a certain position.
In Tier 3, it was really hard finding a main tank at that time, and our starting main tank moved to PC. The constant like clashing of personalities, and then plus the main team and academy team didn't really get along because our personalities were really different compared to theirs. So there's a lot of toxicity going on in that. So sort of like everyone was just like different, and yeah. So some people decided to move, like they just wanted to move on. So we just were forced to disband.
Do you guys look back on your time with Breakaway positively or negatively?
If it weren't for Brigaway, I wouldn't have met good people. I got to meet new people overall and meet new friends. The negative backlash though it was kind of just like it kind of drained me a little bit, so I kind of took a break from competitive Overwatch for a while.
Oh, definitely positively. That was probably the most fun I've had on competitive Overwatch teams ever. Breakaway was so much fun, and people might say that we're toxic, but in all honesty, we were just a bunch of people just having fun on a game. Yeah, we had some players teabag, but that was besides the point. That we just felt so happy playing with each other that we all just felt like we could like play. We were just playing the game. It didn't even feel like competing sometimes. It was just having fun.
I look back on my time as really positive. Like I had a lot of fun. Back then I was only like 13 or 14 back then, so it was really fun like playing with people like my age or older than me and like learning stuff. I learned a lot, like not just in Overwatch but like IRL stuff too. So like I definitely look at it like in a really positive light.
As I said in the beginning, finding a team can be rough, but the experience was always memorable for everybody involved. Finding that perfect team wasn't always easy, but the time you spent and the memories made could be just as well worth it. I hope this video helped give you guys some insight on what the team experience for PS4 Overwatch could be like. Was this similar to your experience? Leave a comment below and let me know. Alright guys, I'll catch you in the next one where we go more in depth about the many organizations in PS4 Overwatch. See ya!